So everyone, welcome to the first night, the conference part of the Monument City Festival. Yeah. I'm 𝗤𝗲𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗃, the founder of Monument, and I'm just so happy and pleased to see so many people here today. When we planned this conference, we were like, we hope that 50 people will come. And now it's a lot of people here, and that shows interest in what we're doing. Right, Paul?
Absolutely.
Yeah. First, I want to take the opportunity to give a big thanks to the crew and the volunteers who's making this festival. Right now, we have about, I guess, 30 people up in the warehouse, carrying speakers, carrying stuff to make it ready for tomorrow. Also, that's why we are recording, so I can say thanks to those people. We like to say always to the crew and the volunteers, remember to hug everyone. And this goes out to all of you. Remember to hug the crew and the volunteers. So, we have had a dream for a long while now in Monument, and that dream is to create 2 festivals a year. One festival in the nature in 𝗤𝗲𝗃, as many of you know about, and one festival in the city. Yes! And this is the first step on our vision and our dream. We know how to do it in nature, and now we are trying to do it in the city. So what you will experience now is 4 days of conference, of interesting topics, of interesting talks. And then you will be able to go and listen to the legendary Jeff Mills tonight. And then tomorrow, just prepare your mind and body for a really amazing journey of live sets from artists from all over the world. And we wanted to make this because we want to show you the difference of a live set and a DJ set. So this will maybe open your mind to the difference. And on Saturday, in proper Monument style, we will have full-on rave party. Yes. And of course, we don't stop there. We have also a Sunday. I know you like saunas, Paul. Yeah?
There's a rumor, yes.
Yes. We can meet up, for those who want, in the sauna at Salt. I think it's the biggest sauna in the Nordics, in Europe. Let's say the world.
Let's say that.
The biggest sauna in the world. Where we will have ambient music from 2 amazing artists. So we can just relax and sweat out the weekend. Also, big thanks to the speakers tonight. We have a great program. We have the culture minister. We have guests from Ukraine, from Poland, from Sweden, and of course from Norway. So, with that, I want to introduce a good friend. He's a DJ. He's a fellow organizer. He's been doing this stuff for 15 plus years, right?
You're making me sound old.
And he's a great thinker. And we have had many great talks. We have had many great evenings just thinking about what's happening in this scene. And it couldn't be anyone better to be the conference here of this night. So please welcome Paul White and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Henning. Thank you, everyone. Well, I must say this is quite overwhelming because it's sunny outside and everyone is indoors, and this is Norway. But it's okay. You have about 2 weeks left of summer before it's winter again, so you'll have plenty of time to enjoy it going forward. Wow, what a lovely group of people. It's, yeah, really special. We must be talking about something important here, I think. So I'm just going to read a little intro before we get into it. So excuse me with my pad here, because it's kind of pre-scripted. Okay. So, why are we here? I don't mean this as some kind of existential question. We can save that for between dances at a rave or at an after party. We're here to explore electronic music culture, the rave scene, both here in Norway and internationally. Is raving just an excuse to escape from mundane daily life? Or is it some kind of utopian experiment exploring a better world, where everyone is kind to each other and freedom of expression is allowed? This event is called Rave Revolution. Is there even such a thing? And if so, where will it lead? Throughout history, there have been many cultural and artistic revolutions that have created monumental societal change. Sorry, that's really... Thank you. The Renaissance, jazz, flower power have all resulted in outcomes that were previously unpredictable. The European Renaissance had a profound impact on society, laying the groundwork for modern science, art, and culture. Jazz music helped challenge racial stereotypes and paved the way for greater acceptance and recognition of African American art and culture, as well as giving birth to rock and roll, pop, and ultimately techno. Flower power in the 1960s opened people's minds, created an explosion of new forms of artistic expression, and was a driving force in the rise of Silicon Valley and the technological revolution. The second summer of love in Britain during the late 1980s is credited with ending English football hooliganism, increasing political engagement in the UK amongst young people, and improving the rights of minority groups. One thing in common is that these creative revolutions have clearly benefited society as a whole. Music brings a unifying quality, supports cultural and artistic expression, and provides an arena for collective and individual self-development. How can all of the stakeholders involved in cultivating this rich and diverse scene provide the support that is needed to ensure that electronic music culture will thrive and provide benefits to a society so in need of positive change? With that, I would like to invite our first guest on the stage, Minister of Culture and Equality, 𝗛𝗲𝗏𝗏. Hi, Anessa.
Hi.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you. It was great coming here. Like I've been sitting in a government conference for like 8 hours, so yeah, great escape.
Very good to hear. So I'm kind of curious. Your title is role of Minister for Culture and Equality. Can you explain a bit about what your role is and how culture and equality are tied together?
I think it's kind of the most perfect portfolio, actually. Not because it's my biggest engagement is for the cultural sector and the diversity in it, and also diversity in general in society. But I think that the topic we're going to talk about here today, the Rave Revolution, and what role clubs are filling in society, how we should organize our cities, what kind of diversity we need in the cultural sector. It's really important because I think the cultural sector and clubs, for instance, can serve as, for me, I can say that being, I came from a small town outside of Oslo, way far away from Oslo, being gay, moving into Oslo to escape, liking techno music, liking raves. For me, that was kind of, it was an escape, but it was also like the one place where I could feel free and feel safe. And I think that it serves that role for many people, actually. So diversity, equality, and culture is of course, it's the two sides of the same thing. And culture is about expressions. Art is expressions. And the freedom of expression is really important, and you should be allowed to express yourself in society. And I think that the diversity and culture give us a ground for that.
So I'm a bit uneducated when it comes to political roles, but is this a role that is kind of Is it a new role, or is it always been culture and equality? Is it something that's come on board?
No, that was actually equality was moved into the portfolio for like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a new.
So it's been recognised that there's a connection between the two.
No, not really. That wasn't why. For all of your Norwegians here, will probably remember that the Christian Conservative Party went into government, and the leader of the Christian Conservative Party, he didn't want to be the Minister of Equality. He just wanted to be the Minister for Children and Families. So they just took the portfolio of equality away and put it to the Ministry of Culture to get rid of a problem. That was the reason why. But I say that it's interlinked and should be like a natural thing. So yeah, it's going to be from now.
That's brilliant. So I'm kind of curious what you know about the rave scene today. You have some previous experience of it, by the sounds of it. You've been to parties. You also, I understand, have DJ'd in the past. Is there something you can say about your kind of?
No, I grew up with my father was like I grew up listening to a lot of music because my father listened to a lot of music, and I remember he was like really into the 𝗲𝗲_ھ from Detroit and that whole scene, which actually like created a whole new I would say base for new talents in techno. He listened a lot to Joy Division, and I learned to like his music. So that's what I kind of grew up with. And then when I was old enough to choose for myself, I still listened to Joy Division, Pet Shop Boys, and then came like Lindström, 𝗤𝗏, and Annie at one point I remember. But I was like more of a commercial DJ, I would say. I would just play like whatever mainstream things that could fill the floor. Yeah, I won't lie.
Okay.
And at that time, in the early 2000s, that was more like R&B and pop. But yeah. And and at that time we played with CDs. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but we don't use them anymore. But I'm actually gonna start doing it again.
You're making a comeback?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come back. I think it's because it's fun. But I think that like, of course, being a minister is a busy life, but sometimes you just have to go to 𝗲𝗲_ھ to dance it off, So I do that from time to time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because, I find, we're going to talk a bit more about this later, but over the as you guys have all heard, I've been doing this for some time. And what's interesting is that there are more people who I would say in, let's say, the corporate sector or more sort of traditional environments where they tend to kind of come out as a closet raver. I used to do this back in the day. So I think it's interesting in terms of how that might be that rave culture is becoming more accepted into mainstream society. But as I understand it, you think that could be, you understand that rave culture is obviously an important part of our society. I also understand you think that it's underrepresented. Is there something you could say about that? It's
obviously a really important part of the society, which is really underestimated by people and politicians and people with power, especially, I think. The rave culture, the techno, that was, it was a culture. It was about protest. Of course, dancing and playing music is obviously fun, but it's also activism. And that's so important. But I think, like, of course, in Norway, as many other places, like, some people still like connect it with like drug culture, which is like a big mistake. And I hope that we can, teach people that is wrong. I think for many people, the rave scene or the techno scene is maybe the place where you can feel the most welcomed, appreciated, taken care of, and welcome and free.
How do you think that the Norwegian government or bureaucrats in general kind of perceive the rave environment as it is at the moment?
Well, I know before I was Minister of Culture, I know we had the pandemics, and I do know that many of the clubs and like festivals of this kind was like struggling with being taken seriously, like getting getting compensation like other parts of the cultural scene would get. And I think that has something to do with understanding and status, actually. And I want to try to be a part of a movement where we can change that, you know, to get people to learn what this is really about. And how important it is. Of course, the danger of doing that, normalizing things, it's of course that, you know, you make it more popular and then mainstream, but I don't think that's the case here, no.
So do you think that, because I sort of think about, I can't remember the name of the politician, this was a few years ago, I think it was when Haider was in power, there was a politician that talked about the joys of being drunk, I think it was something like that, and was less interested in, let's say, tradition or in modern rave culture. And it felt very much, I can't remember who it was, but it very much felt to me at that time that there was a real, almost kind of, not just a pushback, but just a sort of a downgrading of electronic music culture in Norway as something that was almost suppressed, actually. Do you have anything to say about?
Yeah, I agree. I think that, you know, that was a stupid comment, stupid saying. But I think like if you are interested in doing something sober, you know, the best place to go in Oslo would be like the electronic techno clubs, because it's all about dance, it's all about community. You can do whatever you want, and you're free, and you're welcome to be just as you are. There's no pressure there. Yeah, and I think many people think it's the opposite.
Yeah, and I
like
think
you have all these like silent electronic dance parties in the morning. You know, yeah. It's about the dance. It's about being together. It's about the community. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you have to experience it to really feel how important and how relationship building that actually feels.
So maybe we should invite some of your colleagues to some raves.
I think so. I would like to see that. Send the Prime Minister to a rave.
So there are other cities around the world. I'm going to go a bit Oslo specific now, even though obviously we're representing or talking about Norway as a whole here. But there are other cities around the world that have sort of seen the significance of the nighttime economy, and how that plays a really vital role in the life of a city. And also how certain legislation, for example, closing times or certain licensing configurations, and also certain policies towards drug usage, how they can actually be, let's say, maybe more lenient in some respects, but also that there could be more focus on what is right for the city as a whole in terms of how this nighttime environment is handled. And I know that some cities, they've employed or hired in a nighttime mayor. I'm just wondering what you think about where Oslo fits in that sense. Maybe also Bergen and some of the other bigger cities. How far are we away from that kind of attitude towards this?
A good question. There's some obvious reasons why we're not there, you know. And one reason is that we're a small country, small cities, few inhabitants, and of course we have a tradition and a history of having like really restrictive alcohol policy. You know, you cannot buy alcohol after 3 o'clock in Norway, and if you can't sell alcohol after 3 o'clock, you close at 3:30, because people go home. And also, like Norwegians are like historically seen as really like we're kind of, yeah, we like to drink at home because it's cheaper. Start early, drink at home, go out late to buy, not to be able to not buy as much at the club. So this is like obviously not good for the economy of the clubs and the bars. But that's like I think we are moving into a more continental attitude also in Norway. But obviously there are some reasons why we are not there. You can, of course, have a club that's open till 7 in the morning, but who would do that when they can't sell alcohol? You know, yeah. And I want. There's like nothing. There's no like solution to that at the end of the tunnel. I just have to say I'm sorry with the alcohol restrictions. That is like really deeply conservative rooted in all the Norwegian conservative parties, actually, the discussion is not about like should we be able to sell alcohol till 6 o'clock in the morning. It's rather like should we increase it and say 1 o'clock. So this is the actual debate in a political environment. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about not serving alcohol. I read something interesting that I didn't know a little while back about the Ministry of Sound when it opened up in London. And it didn't actually have an alcohol license for the first 3 years, apparently. So I'm not sure.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Well, they weren't serving alcohol either, so.
Oh, they didn't. Okay.
No. So I think there was other things happening there than yeah. But I mean, is there? I mean, the thing that's really clear here is that the business model seems to be for a lot of places is built on serving alcohol. And if you were to look to Berlin, for example, you know, there's also a culture there which is less, as I said, you know, everyone's doing their own thing, but it's less focused on drinking within a certain time frame, and then people aren't being thrown out of a club. So is there opportunities for some kind of hybrid solution where we could sort of say, you know,
this is of course a part of the discussion all the time, like the more liberal ones of us are like arguing with that, you know, like because it's not a smart thing to like close at 3 and just skip all of these drunk people out in the streets. Like it's stupid. It should be like more. But that's my personal point of view, not the view of the government. Just to say. But that's of course a part of the discussion. But I also think that the thing you said about having a nightlife mayor is really good idea to like show that the city appreciates the nightlife. Where clubs and festivals and, you know, different people wanting to do something in their city have a place to go. To talk to get licensed or get advice or whatever they need. I think that's a really good idea. To send a signal out that the city is fond of the activities happening at night. So that's a good tip to Raimond Johansen. I will tell him.
Yeah, and I mean, do you think that at some point? I mean, we've talked a lot already about the government sort of attitude towards nightlife, but if you again see to other cities and other countries, they actually look at electronic music culture in the same light as maybe opera or theatre, as a very important part of the cultural offering. Is there, at least if we kind of take alcohol out of the equation and look at maybe festivals or anything that is sort of offering that cultural experience, do you think that there might be an improved attitude from the government about this?
I hope so, and for me, I'm already there. I will promise to use my power to try to change that, because of course it is a part of the cultural infrastructure, and of course clubs and raves and techno scenes are just as important, more important maybe than opera. Don't tell anyone I said that. No, but it's not. But it's never being recognized, you know, as an important part of the cultural scene, and it should.
Yeah.
And also, like and we know a lot about like for marginalized groups, minorities. Gays, for example, like 𝗪𝗲_हि_HISTORY, that has served as a place to feel welcome and free and at home, and that's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess you might know that I was going to ask you this question, but there was some challenges with respect to organising this festival, and I guess, well, actually, I'd like to let you kind of say something about it without sort of, colouring it, but yeah. There was something that nearly stopped this festival from happening. Do you want to make any comments about that?
I think I shouldn't know.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
You can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was about bureaucracy and maybe not having the right view or approach to what this is and why it's important. Maybe, I don't know, but it worked out with a little bit of.
It definitely worked out. Okay, how are we doing for time? We're good? Got more time? 3 minutes. Wow, being precise here. So is there anything in terms of what you would like to see happening going forward? Do you have any kind of ideas around around how you would like to see this scene sort of flourishing.
Well, I think it's kind of blooming in Norway now, isn't it? That's my expression or feeling, and I think that's great, and I hope that will last. You know, we deserve this, and we need this. Like after all those years with COVID, and you know, just having to party in parks and in the woods, and that's great. And I love everything that could make like the nightlife and the cultural scene in Oslo, Bergen, Tromsø, or in Norway more diverse. We need that. So I'm just cheering for that, and I also want to try to make this part of the cultural life more. To kind of change the negative thoughts about it, all the prejudice and people's mindset on what it is that it actually isn't. For example, when it comes to the possibility of having grants from the Kulturråd, etc., I think there's a lot to work on to make society look at this as important as it actually is. Yeah. So we'll talk about that.
Is that sort of would that be done specifically through kind of policy change, or kind of how are you, or communications, or, you know, I'm a bit of a...
I think probably both, both, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well, I think we're good now. So, yeah?
Good luck with the festival.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I hope the rest of the panel is here. So I would like to call up Ole Smith-Simonsen. Is he here? Ah, yes, he is. Awesome. Hello, hello. And Cecilia Strömsheim. I know she's here. And 𝗞𝗿𝗄𝗶𝗴. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And 𝗣𝗲𝗲 St. James. Okay, so Ole Smith-Simonsen is artist, promoter, and founder of 𝗣𝗲𝗲. If I'm not mistaken. Cecilia is artist, promoter, and co-founder of 𝗏𝗏 and 𝗣𝗲𝗲. Philip is co-founder of the Ghost Community, or Ghost Collective. And 𝗣𝗲𝗲 is artist, promoter, and founder of New Era. So basically today we're going to be talking about what's happening in the Norwegian rave scene. And I'll join you. Hopefully this mic will work. Hello. Thank you. So how's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Good.
Happy to be here. So today we're just going to talk about the Norwegian rave scene. Well, duh. I'm just kind of curious. I want to ask. I'm going to sort of not necessarily grill you, but talk a little bit about what's been happening over the past few years. And I think, actually, Ole, I would like to start with you, because you've been doing this maybe a few years longer than me.
I'm the old man. I mean, I probably did my first parties in '96, but then left for London. And I didn't come back in 2008. So, but I went through boxes recently, and I found my first party at 𝗏𝗏 in '99.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been around. Yeah. These days, I mean, we're talking about rave. I did rave parties back in the '90s, but now, I mean, this is club culture for me, obviously. But
so you've seen some changes since that time, I guess.
Yeah, I was here when everybody bought guitars. Trust me.
And you started 𝗣𝗲𝗲 that was around 2010, was it?
We don't talk about age. Sorry.
I'm kind of curious about you know, when it comes to having a club. How has that been over the years, and kind of how is it now for you?
It's changing. I think one of the interesting things coming to this is that probably before the pandemic, I was kind of umming and ahhing, having these conversations about what are the kids doing, because there was a generation that came up that was promoting parties and wanted to be DJs, and then suddenly there was a generation that just wanted to be DJs, but not work for it. And the pandemic just changed that in a big way, and I'm really happy to see that so many new people have come. I mean, there's people who came to before the pandemic, Monument being one of them, but it really was a big sea change of things happening, and young people who took this part into their own hands and so to make their own fun and to find their own way. And I think it's super healthy for everything that's going forward.
I'm going to ask these guys a little bit about that going forward, but I'm curious about your, if you have any ideas about why that's happened, what's changed, you know, what kind of caused this scene to blossom in this way.
It's obvious, I think, with the pandemic that was, you know, you had to do it yourself. I mean, we were really focused on just keeping people running at the club. We had some silly nights where sold out was 20 people sitting in the courtyard in December in -5, listening to drum and bass, drinking non-alcoholic beverages, because that was the only thing that was going. But a lot of other people, you know, took what they had and made things with it that, you know, a lot of respect for that.
But another thing that's kind of interesting, though, is, you know, through my experience at least, that you know, pre-pandemic, you know, when you're promoting events, whether they were in a club or whether they're outside independent events, you know, it was really a struggle to sometimes to get the numbers that you needed to actually make it successful. And I understand what you're saying about the pandemic, but I also think that there must be some kind of other shift that's happened, which isn't necessarily totally related to that. Maybe there's something else that's happened, maybe sort of prior to the pandemic, but there seemed to be maybe, I don't know what it was, but if you have any comments.
There's an underlying change in music as always. I mean, this time around techno came and then techno changed, but it definitely grew bigger in all facets. I don't think house music went away, but definitely, and that's related, I think, to more people going to and being abroad and taking that home, and for the scene to kind of evolve in many ways. And you have to, you know, at the end of the day, techno became, before the pandemic, the biggest sound out there, and that of course has an impact on a country like Norway. In the end, you know, we're not that disconnected. So these things were happening, but I'll go back to that. I think there were people doing parties, but not in the numbers that I suppose. And those who were doing, most of them were techno. So.
But what's interesting is that, you know, the number of people in Norway hasn't exploded during that time. So it's not like, you know, so something has obviously happened in terms of the interest in techno. And I guess it's like you say, but it just seemed like such a very major shift. Maybe Cecilia, maybe I can ask you a bit about that, because 𝗲𝗲HI's been going for 5 years, is that right?
2019.
Okay.
So it was before Corona.
Just before Corona.
Yeah.
So can you say a little bit about what inspired you guys to start that event?
𝗲𝗲HIH, who founded 𝗲𝗲H, he just wanted to create something that was not there, a techno party that's colorful. We have the Oriental style. It's a lot of drums and it's dream catchers and it's a lot of colors. So we just wanted to bring like the happy techno party. And I joined in, the first party I did was 2 years ago at the summer party outside of Oslo. And it was one of the best parties I ever been to. So that was my start. So I started after it was founded in 𝗲𝗲H.
But you've been working or creating quite large events, and if you compare that maybe to where you started in 2019, there must have been, one thing is, of course, you can grow your base of people who want to come to your events and follow what you're doing. But again, you know, if you compare that to, you know, you had the 𝗲𝗲H in Salt, there was what, 800, 900 people there or something like that. That's quite a sort of large growth from when you started. So,
Yeah.
what do you think the reason is for that?
Like he said, I think like the pandemic is really important because I think people who usually didn't go to raves did go to rave, and then they saw that it's actually quite open and it's not that scary and it doesn't have that stigmas that where a lot of people think it is. It's really including. It's rare that it's phone there, and it's really friendly. And I also think that social media has a big part of it. It's really trendy with the techno now, and you can also see it in like clothing styles, also in TikTok and Instagram. That it's the rave style is really trendy now, and it's been the 90s style for a while now. So I think that's something that also has something to do with it.
Yeah, interesting. 𝗵𝗿, you're probably the sort of newcomer, because you started or not. When did you start your event?
New Era, I think I started. Originally, it was supposed to be December in 2021, but then I think on the date of the event was the new restrictions for the pandemic. So I was on the way to the airport to pick up the artist, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're doing new restrictions," and I was like, "Okay." But then we postponed it to March, so I'd say like it's about a year and a half, or a year and a month rather. When before that, I've just been helping all my friends who are promoters and organizers in India and both in Oslo, as well as DJing. But yeah, New Era, I would say, is about a year, and a month. Yeah.
And what inspired you to start New Era?
I would say wanting to do my own events has been a thing for me since about 2017. Back in India, I was DJing over there. But then at that time, my manager was like, "Oh yeah, this is such a good idea, but don't do it now." He was like, "Just focus on your DJing," and I was like, "Okay," but I got to do it. So I kind of kept it on pause, and I just focused on like my own DJing and just helping friends out with their events, because I was like, whatever I can do, if I can connect you to a manager friend of mine, or if I can come help you set up with any of the knowledge I have, then I'll do it. But during the pandemic, I would say, again, everything's from the pandemic. Like Evan said, Evan was going to these forest raves and everything, which I feel like was a great, in a way, escape from being at home, but also was like, you go to this place and you meet very like-minded people, and it's all just a very like loving and caring community when you're there. And I would say most of my friends also I know in Oslo is because of the raving community. But wait, what was the question again? I went a bit off.
Well, it was. I think you answered the question. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I'm trying to understand what has been the catalyst. And I know the pandemic is being brought up.
Yeah.
But I also and obviously I understand social media as well. But I also think that maybe there's a cultural openness, like you say. Maybe the pandemic, because of people were finding different ways to make their fun, that kind of provided a grounding for launching new things.
Yeah, I think it helped a lot of friends launch a lot of their concepts and what they were dreaming to do, like become organizers, and it helped definitely blow up the techno scene in Oslo, because from my point of view was when you go to these raves, you'd have like the people, of course, the ravers and people who know the techno, and then there's a lot of the other crowd who like listen to more like the top 50 this kind of music, but then they discovered this culture and they're like, whoa, what is this? This is not a normal night out where people are drunk and are falling everywhere. This is so amazing. And then you can like slowly see people changing and just becoming more like, oh, this is I really love this, I want to go more and more.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe a combination of things. There's a greater openness. There's maybe back when us oldies here had a lot of resistance from mainstream culture, which basically suggested that we were somehow decadent or doing something wrong or just weird. Whereas now, as this has come into this culture has become into, not necessarily into the mainstream, but people become aware of it. These kind of closet ravers tend to.
For sure, that's coming out more and more. But I gotta say, I do respect Jaeger and like clubs like Villa, and like they've been pushing really good bookings from so many years now. It's crazy. And that definitely helps build the scene more and more and inspire more and more people to become DJs and even just go out to clubs and just introduce their friends to techno in that way. When you book artists like Jeff Mills, that's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Philip, I'm kind of curious about Ghost Collective. because obviously it seems to me like you started this in response to the same thing, seeing that there's a number of people who are promoters who are creating events and they want to contribute to this environment. So can you say a little bit about what's sort of behind 𝗲𝗲𝗶∞ and where you're sort of how you're helping out and what's the motivation behind it?
Yeah, I can try. It's super hard to define ghosts as it is now because we're basically trying out a lot of new stuff. But it started with Bror Joakim Johannessen.
Yeah.
That everybody's. He should be actually. I'm just representing him right now. He's like, and well, the story. Like I've known this guy for a year, and he inspired me a lot. We started working together, and what I understood quickly about him is that he runs around and does people a lot of good favors. He's like the go-to guy for everything, and he was like, maybe we should structure this somehow, right? So the techno scene had blown up, and there's no there's no structures, there's no systems anywhere. So like within techno, there's not like you can call a publishing, company or something like the big, sort of industry players like Capitol Records or whatever for the traditional genres. So people have, created their own structures, and within organizing, the same, creating their own structures in raves, and then trying to figure out how can we make this fit into regular day-to-day life, because having it in the forest is super fun, but it takes a toll on you. So you have to do something that is a little bit more, like a little bit simpler to do, that everybody could participate in. And I think the whole club scene got overwhelmed by it. So we're trying to figure out how to do that in a good way.
Is that through making events kind of financially sustainable, or ensuring that venues are kind of the terms are correct, that kind of thing?
Yes. So as you mentioned with the conversation with earlier, was that most of events in general are funded by alcohol, mostly alcohol and ticket sales, and we don't drink that much. So we need to figure out something different. So when we are, when an organizer is organizing, you're basically crossing your fingers that you're selling enough tickets. So it's like a lot of risk on, making people come, and it's people usually buy tickets the day before. It's like that's the trend in Oslo, and that's very, very, you're biting your nails, and it's like shit. Do I need to pay up for everything because So basically trying to minimize the risk, that is what we're trying to do. Super hard, very hard. And just trying to get into the nooks and crannies of understanding how a venue works, what their costs on their sides are, is hard, because it's coming in there and taking over, a club venue and understanding, how this works, learning every single day.
Do you feel like you're making an impact? You think you're kind of getting under the hood of what's happening?
We will. But I think so. We have a good collaboration with 𝗲𝗲𝗶∞. They're really cooperative. So we're having a lot of fun with them. New Era, you were there. The event went good, at least. Yeah, I really liked the event. And OMG has been there as well. So, it's like I'm fairly new to this community, so I'm just like still recognizing the faces. But so that is good. So we're going to actually try to do more of these events, just to basically for each event trying to iterate for something better. So now we have come up with like a staircase model that is like makes it simpler to go in as like sort of all the people that are taking a risk at a lower point, and then we actually managed to get the club on board with this. So the club is also lowering their sort of expenses, and then hoping for like taking the risk together with the organizer.
And the venues have been open to that?
Oh, only this one venue.
Just one so far.
So we're it's like still pilot period, but hopefully, like if this proves right, then these terms should be sort of a default. Hopefully, why not? It's better for everyone. You get a higher quality event, at the higher volume if you'd like that as a venue. So yeah.
Cool. Ola, I'm just kind of curious here because it's really good, what you said earlier about this kind of blossoming of independent events that come up recently. I'm kind of curious about the relationship between 𝗣𝗲, and I guess you could also cover some of the other nightclubs as well, in terms of, obviously we have Jeff Mills playing tonight, so obviously there's some good cooperation going on. But of course, I think Philip mentioned about alcohol, business models, I guess, for nightclubs are more traditional in a way. How do you see kind of potentially bridging that gap somehow, or is there any need to, or is there any kind of cooperation that should be happening between these independent events and clubs like 𝗣𝗲?
On a certain level, it would be good if this weekend there's a lot of techno going on. I didn't know because I got Surgeon on tomorrow. I got Jeff coming, and I realized that that's a better look doing it together. And Mevlana's got Villa tomorrow. So it's sometimes it gets a little crowded. That maybe could be avoided, but it's also really difficult when you're sitting as a booker and you're kind of getting these dates for someone you finally you want to do, and then you're not second guessing if someone else booked another techno act or something. So, but there's a link there missing. I think I wanted to deviate a little bit onto a few other issues because I think that's where the glass ceiling is at the moment. And I think on one level, I'm very happy just being underground. But if you want to progress beyond that, there's a certain set of things that is happening that you got to break through. I mean, Anette talked about Nightmare. This is something that we've been discussing with the council over several years, and they want to do it. They just haven't gotten to it yet. And so we have other projects with them, but it's actually something they want to do themselves. But it's priorities as everything else. The thing she's talking about with the alcohol license, I mean, we have a bar, but I don't see myself as selling alcohol. What we do is make, not even just parties, but it's experiences. Alcohol is an important part of that. But I think the missing alcohol sales is more about having that as an option to, I mean, in London, bar sales would stop at 2 o'clock or something, and that pushes everything in the direction of either not taking anything or taking loads of drugs, which isn't necessarily a positive way. But as Janetta said, I mean, the baseline in politics is that people don't want to change this. If they do, they want to move it the other direction. This could change. There's a political reality that could change, but we need to understand it's really ingrained within the Labour Party. It's definitely ingrained with the rest of the left parties and with the farmers' parties. With there is very little room there on a national level to change this. What can be changed, which I think is something that it's 2 points. One of them is coverage. Which has always been a problem. The scene's always been covered by people who have no idea and who have no interest in having an idea as well, because all they want is to misrepresent it for whatever sales or clicks they can get. I talk to people from just Stockholm where, radio is representing techno and house scenes. People who say, I'm playing loads because they're playing my tracks on the radio. National Radio has one show for electronic music, 2 hours on the show that's behind the doghouse, the radio station that you find it if you search for it. But they are producing thousands of hours of radio, and it is like this because we're not the money, we're not the big labels, we're basically not involved with all this business shit at the top. That's not to say that we can't shame them and push this in a direction that takes what we're doing seriously. And the other thing is what actually Anette can do something about, which is 𝗪𝗲𝗍𝗔. This is a scene that's getting hardly any funding at all. I mean, look at the opera. We talked about opera. The building isn't even counted for the rent when they are getting, 500 or 600 million kroners or something. So the richest people in culture is getting the most money whatsoever. Theatre, opera. And I mean, I had an argument with the Cultural Council over funding because they literally said that 𝗲𝗃, my other party at 𝗲𝗲, wasn't culture, and they live to regret that. Because I, through disco demolition, knighted them and called them racists. And and I think I jarred the door open a little bit. At least they, from bad conscience, gave some money to this festival in Bergen that 𝗞𝗿𝗄𝗃 is doing, and a few others I know. But this is a door that should be kicked in. And in fact, it shouldn't just be kicked in; it should be opened by them, saying, "Look, this, you know, we've done wrong." And they have a set of way of working and jargon, and they could approach us, or we have to learn how to play them. But that's something to be thought about by everyone, because the more they get, the easier it becomes. And then, yeah, I mean, I wish I could do something with licensing hours, trust me, but that's a long way into the future, unfortunately.
Very good. So maybe in some way, you know, there's we all have the same interests. We all want the same thing. So the more we can kind of collaborate and as you say, push the powers that be, then maybe we can get some traction. Yeah, it is quite shocking when you consider, you know, I come from the UK, and the electronic music scene there, you know, by the BBC is massively represented, and you have all these sort of underground stations. You've lived in the UK. So.
I brought the BBC here in 2003, and I invited NRK 𝗞𝗿𝗲 to come to meet them, and they were like, no.
Yeah, but then maybe we can find some ways to all work together and try and push this forward. Yeah. Okay, I think we can wrap up here and move on to the next panel. Unless anyone has any closing comments that they want to say. No?
Yeah. Again, I repeat myself, but bloody hell! I mean, good on you for making a festival for electronic music in Oslo. You're good people, so this is good on you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, let's continue, shall we? So the next panel will be discussing safe dance floors within the rave community. How to create safe dance floors where people are not exposed to things that are harmful to them, or are able to deal with challenging scenarios. So for that, I would like to call on stage 𝗲𝗏𝗶 Øyunn Bryn, Ingrid Autran, and 𝗞𝗿𝗄𝗃 𝗪𝗃. Okay. So for this, rather than tell you guys what these guys are up to, I would like everyone to introduce themselves. If we could maybe start with you, Ina.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for inviting me to this panel. So I'm from Safer Drug Policies, called 𝗲𝗃 ruspolitikk in Norwegian. And we are promoting what can I say, safer drug policies, and by that I also mean a drug policy reform. That means decriminalization, safe supply, cannabis reform, harm prevention strategies. We also have different harm prevention measures, like Norway's one and only drug checking service. We have safe spaces that Ingrid will talk about later, and we also have a drug information website called 𝗲𝗏𝗲𝗃.no. We're doing a lot of things, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Øyunn.
I do one thing, radical inclusion. That is what Morning Beat is. Morning Beat is two things at this point. One is a sober morning rave, and I promise you it's not silent. The other thing is a festival that is booming and grooving and becoming something that I don't quite know what is yet, but maybe we will, Paul, because maybe it's a collaboration there. So Morning Beat is in Oslo, Norway, Moscow, and Copenhagen. And hopefully other places as well. I don't know. It's been a pandemic. It's been hard, but we are growing.
Yes, Inga.
Hi.
Ingrid, sorry. It's like, yeah, I was saying to her, yeah, we're just friends, you know, talking. And I'm
Exactly.
like, name
Ingrid
wrong,
for
goddammit.
my friends. My name is Ingrid, and I come from Brazil. I'm a medical doctor, and I have been working with Safe Space, which is a project that works under 𝗲𝗲 ruspolitikk. We are a collective of volunteers that work with harm reduction in music festivals. And basically what we do is to create safe space and have volunteers that would help guests having challenging drug experiences or non-drug experiences. But what we do basically is creating spaces in those events to take in guests that maybe need some grounding, some help, or some, just some support, basically. So it's we call it that it's a harm reduction type of project. And yeah.
Amazing. And 𝗲𝗲.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm the founder of Bad Habits. Bad Habits is an interdisciplinary club concept based on different art forms, where we produce basically performance art and also having DJs and having art in the, like we go into every club and decorate to each theme. And it's based on queer community members that are building this, for building spaces where people feel included and where they feel safe to be. And we're also building a scene based on local Norwegian performers, DJs, and giving place. To be honest, like for me, it's a place for dreamers. Like, if I see someone on the dance floor that is really nice or good at dancing, I'm like, yo, could you think performing? Could you think about being a performer? And they're like, yeah, why not? And that's like, okay. So, yeah, I guess it's a place for dreams and including people. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So it's kind of interesting, you know, when we were looking at how to structure these panels, you know, we were thinking about what would sort of go together, and you know, the idea of creating a safe space, at least in my experience, I don't want this to be about me, but I have some experience with it, having been part of Morning Beat and also OMG, that it's a lot more than, or it's not just. It's not just inclusion, although that's a big part of it, but it's also providing the environment for people to not feel exposed in some way, or that they're being or they're in danger, and or they're being judged. And that when I'm talking about danger, I mean, you know, that could both be sort of something emotional, it could be physical. So for me, I think bringing these kind of ideas together, both whether it's a harm reduction, or whether it's sober events, or whether it's a place where people of different, let's say the queer community can also feel safe. I think they're all kind of, for me, they obviously have unique characteristics, but they're under a similar umbrella. So I'm kind of curious about what is the kind of, what do we need to look out for when we're creating these safe spaces? What is the, yeah. I know for a fact that a lot of the places where you work, either you're working under your own events or you're going to other places and creating a service there. But at the same time, I know that there are a lot of people that would go out to an ordinary, let's say, bar or nightclub potentially, and not necessarily feel safe. So I'm curious about what are the kind of characteristics of a safe environment? Is there anyone that would like to talk about that?
I got something.
Go for it.
So a thing that I talk about, because I have the ability to create a culture because I make it. So what I want to see is in my staff and on stage is minorities. It's the people that would not feel safe in that kind of environment. And when we take alcohol from that as well, which is the Norwegian culture, if you look different and Norwegians are drunk, they will scream something at you, especially after 3 o'clock, as Anette 𝗲𝗲 said. So by removing those two elements, like both promoting diversity and then removing the alcohol, I think I create a safe space.
Yeah, very good. What about you, Ingrid?
Okay, so we usually work in parties where people might use some drugs that would make them feel maybe overwhelmed with the environment. Maybe they feel that they need a place to be grounded, and they might not want to talk to their friends or maybe find their own place to be safe. So they come to us, and we work with this by the body or peer support philosophy, where people that maybe have experienced also challenging drug experiences, they're going to be there and they're going to support their guests into feeling safe, feeling comfortable, and feeling they can go into those challenging drug experiences without feeling afraid. So what we try to do is to create spaces where it's like maybe less stimulating, maybe there's people that can help you to feel that you're warm, or that you can have access to water, or maybe you need to just like listen to like some calmer music and get a blanket or someone to just talk to you. So I think that what we try to do is to work through compassionate listening, people that would be with you without no judgment, and that could help you to just challenging experiences.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Inni, you had something you wanted to say about this?
Some people think that criminalization is preventing drug use, that stigmatizing people is preventing drug use or excluding people. And I just want to make the point that this is actually increasing the chances of people getting hurt. And there's a lot of examples of that. People who are might have taken MDMA or something at a pub, and then they are getting too warm, and they are afraid of calling upon the security guards because the police might come. They don't know if there's a collaboration with the pub and the police, or there's been several accidents where young people, especially young girls between 17 and 19, we know at least 3 cases where they've been going into a festival and then seeing police dogs coming, and then they're panicking and putting all they have in their mouth, and then dying from MDMA overdoses. So it's also like it's easy to see what is not really working, and unfortunately that's what we've been doing for so many years. And luckily we can see changes coming. And I just want to give my command to the rave community, because I think that a lot of people here and in this community has been ahead when it comes to drug prevention strategies and actually helping to prevent harm and overdoses.
Yeah, very good. How do you, because of course, we talk about, if we think about, the use of certain substances, and we all know, or at least we maybe read it in the media, how there's an uptake in that outside of the rave community. What kind of steps are you thinking or able to take to help that person that's kind of in a pub or in a let's say a non-rave environment place?
Well, I wish that instead of having security guards or people working in the pub who are searching for people using drugs or dealing or something like that, I wish it could be like more a caring perspective, like many people have said already. But for instance, so make sure that people feel safe, and so they can come and ask for water, or say that they are too warm and need to be cooled down, or and also I think that organizers, it's very important to have drug information ahead, tell them about our drug checking service, for instance, and just so that people know that it's actually safe to ask for help, because that's not the way it is, unfortunately, many places.
How does that work in terms of communication? Because at least maybe this is just because I've been around for a bit, but if I was promoting on a flyer 15 years ago that I had, let's say, a drug testing facility at my rave, then I would pretty much guarantee that the police would come and shut me down. So has that changed? Is that something, you know, obviously I know that Monument is working with you guys in this area. Is this something that has changed in recent times? Is there more of an openness from the police or from the government in general regarding this kind of work?
A few years ago, what we're doing now would be very, very difficult. And I think that a lot of these organizers, many of who are here, have actually helped us as well, because they're opening, you know, their festival for us, allowing safe spaces and drug information and telling people about drug checking service. And now it's like it's more accepted also in other communities. And of course, just one note on the drug checking service, because we're not receiving any public funding, which is okay. We are surviving on private donations and membership fees. But the Director of Health just said that they think this is not something that we are allowed to do, that is like forbidden prevention. So at the same time, this is something that is, you know, in the Netherlands and Belgium and Spain and many other countries, UK, many places, this has been going on for years, back to the 90s and I think in the 80s, at least beginning of 90s. So it's not something new. But we still have to fight for it in Norway. So thank you all who have been supporting us in that fight.
Yeah.
Just have to add, Paul, that the police try to shut down Morning Beat too all the time. They don't believe that it's a sober rave. So.
Yeah. But I also remember a story of a policewoman with glitter on her face going to the police station afterwards, and you know, going to a 𝗲𝗲 meeting.
That is true.
Where have you been?
Too freely.
So 𝗲𝗲, how are you finding creating safe spaces? Because that's essentially what you're also doing. It's a very different, well, not necessarily a different area, but it's a different focus.
Well, I think that creating safe spaces has a lot to do with including people, inclusion, basically like age range, having a place where people can feel safe even though they're 60 or 20, and it's like people love to dance, like it's no age limit. But what made me fall in love with the rave scene was basically the feeling of non-judgmental environment where you can come in dressed as you are, behaving with respect, like, and love, and be who you are basically, without being like, oh, you're not cool enough or la la la. That doesn't matter. People are there for the music, the art. So for me, it's I think a safe space makes itself by including people, basically. That's my belief. And I also think that if you take people serious when they have concerns regarding feeling unsafe with guards, feeling unsafe with drug use, feeling unsafe with whatever issue there is, I think people will feel that they are seen and they are not like alone about it. They're not just going into this club, buying a ticket and buy. No, they're a part of a culture. And I think if you are kind of can facilitate for this kind of behavior and culture around with people, I think you can get a long way. Because what is a safe space? I think that you can't really I can't host an event and say it's a safe space, because honestly, how can I make a safe space for my events? For example, it's 330 up till 500 people. How can I make everyone safe? I can't do that, but I can take a talk with the security guards as I do before each event, and I am telling them like, yo, like people will drink, people will take drugs. I will not lie to you. But for me, it's not important to be like, yo, you got drugs on you. No, it's important to be like, hey, you're too intoxicated. You're going to sit here until you are conscious, and then you can leave the party. Because then we are taking responsibility for the lives also. Because I don't feel it's right to kick out people just because they're kind of doing something that's human, basically, like taking too much of alcohol, drugs, or whatever. Like, that's human behavior. Like, why should we be punished for that? So I think to make a safe space has a lot about making individuals feel seen and include them in a community. So yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah, it's very it's very interesting how how we deal with someone being drunk versus someone being intoxicated on a substance. And oh, you're drunk. Oh, that's okay. Well, just get a taxi, mate. You know, and that's kind of acceptable. Whereas if you're doing something else, then that's completely unacceptable. And that's just a very weird kind of bug within our society, I guess.
I thought about something, Paul. There was something you said, because sexuality, the only place where you can't define someone's sexuality is at a rave scene.
Yeah,
so you don't have that unnecessary sexual attention that you get somewhere else, isn't it? Yeah. That is a safe space. Yeah. For me, I'm a demisexual. I don't like random hookups. That's why I rave, I think.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I mean, certainly with Morning Beat, you know, what I have noticed from my early involvement with it is that for me, you know, the idea of turning up at a place. I mean, of course, we've turned everything upside down. It's Tuesday morning. It's there's definitely no substances involved. And if you look at the demographic, it's primarily probably 60%, 70% female, I guess. Yeah. And around 25 to 35, something like that. Which to me, you know, I'm not going to put, you know, 2 and 2 together to make 5, but I'm guessing that creating that place where you can be a female in an environment and dance freely without being harassed is probably quite important.
It is. If you read the news articles about Morning Beat, that's what the females say as well. But I think Morning Beat is just a stepping stone towards the rave scene. I think it's the soft launch. Because it's in the morning, it's sober, you don't have to put on an outfit like this to feel welcome. And I think that's the first step. So you go to Morning Beat and you see, oh, this is cool. I like raves. I think I like raves. And then you come to one of the other events. You come to Monument, you come to Under the Rugs, I want to come to one of your events so badly. I have a performance for you, I'm going to tell you after. So I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to make some joke about a gateway drug.
I just have something to say also when it comes to like including people and making people feel safe. I think the way you dress is something really important when it comes to feeling safe somewhere. Because when I get dressed for an event, like I love to go all extra, go all the way out. And if I go to a place where I'm like, yo, here you can't wear that or you can't wear that, I'm like, oh, isn't this what clubbing is about? You know, getting a little free time of the daily life where you can dress how you want, be how you want, of course, with respect and with love and all of that. But like, it's meant to be a free space. So is it really that hard to create that? I don't know. I think we have a long way to go, of course, but I think it's also not that hard.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, the clock is ticking, unfortunately. This is a great conversation, but we have more to get through. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys all for coming along and also creating these safe spaces. Okay, so then time for our next guest, 𝗣𝗲𝗲. Probably pronounced that completely wrong. Ah, there she is. Haha. Okay.
Hi.
If we have some mic here, please. Thank you. Hey, Vera.
Hello.
Hello. It's good to see you in the flesh.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
It's my first time in Norway.
It's your first time in Norway?
Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome.
Yeah, Thank
Says
you.
the English guy. Yeah, welcome to 𝗲𝗲, everyone. Yeah,
Thank you.
So yes, so you have arrived from straight from Ukraine?
Not like straight, but actually, I came back from Kiev 5 days ago, and then I had time for rest because it's super complicated. Actually, road is super long, and we don't have flights, so it's 30 hours by trains.
Wow.
Yeah, then I stopped in Budapest, and then I have like super comfortable flights to 2.5 hours, and I'm here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So yeah.
Yeah, my apologies. Obviously, as you can tell, I kind of know 𝗲𝗲, or at least we've been talking online. So I haven't actually introduced who she is. So
Just 𝗲𝗲. It's okay.
Just 𝗲𝗲, yeah.
Yeah.
So 𝗲𝗲 is an artist, promoter, and the founder of Rhythm Bureau, if I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, Bureau, yeah.
Based in Kiev. So, how is life in Kiev right now?
Comparing to what we have a few years ago, it's absolutely different, of course. But anyway, you would be surprised because we still have life, we still have some fun, we still have safe spaces, have parties and festivals as well. Not like we used to have. It's a bit different because we have some restrictions and stuff. So it's kind of daytime events. And even if it comes to festival, it's also daytime events. So yeah, we have to dance during the day, go home at 10, 11. Now it's 11. It's 1 hour more, and it's like really like good bonus for us. Yeah, and after that, you have to choose to go to after party or to go home sleep. Wait until 5 or 6 a.m. already, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, and you can continue. You can go to the second day of the festival. So yeah, actually, we used to have non-stop festivals, but now I heard your problems, and we have something in common.
Yeah. So. I guess the music scene has changed somewhat in the past year and a half. I mean, it was also remarkable just to kind of for it to sink in that there is a music scene. But as you explained before, Ukrainians are pretty strong bunch.
We have a lot of crises and a lot of troubles. Revolutions and stuff, and we are quite strong. And what happened with us? It was super big issue, and of course it's a horrible thing. But because of our ability to adapt to some really hard times. We were fast in this area. So yeah, actually it's already more than a year we have war in our country, and a lot of businesses relocated from eastern part to Kiev. Kiev more or less well protected. So yeah, we try to keep Kiev life, our life alive. I don't know, sorry. And we are really we have a lot of businesses, cafes, parties, designers, I don't know, shops with clothes and stuff. So yeah, we try to do everything and. To help each other, so we are trying to support local products. We prefer to buy local brands. So it's super important, and now we are super focused into this.
And also, it sounds like you're kind of gaining. I mean, there's a certain level of self-sufficiency in that.
Yeah. We like appreciate your, appreciate our brands, our scene, our DJs, our music. So yeah, it's kind of really tough time. But I would say that during tough time, it's kind of point for your. I don't know, growth. Yeah, so you can develop yourself because these circumstances is kind of out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in terms of the need to go and go to an event, dance to techno. How is that kind of now versus sort of 18 months ago? Is it become something that's in terms of its importance for people, or how it?
Yeah. I got your point. Actually, when war started, it was absolutely inappropriate at some point, and we already been in this point 8 years ago when Russia invaded our country. And it was inappropriate to dance, inappropriate to book artists, inappropriate to have fun and everything. And now it's like it's happened again. And we were like, no, never again. Because we have just one life. And, we have like only, you never know. Maybe tomorrow there will be no tomorrow for you. So it's important to dance, to celebrate life, to be alive, to have fun, even if you have our. Thank you. Yeah, and I want to say thank you for all your community, because when war started, we received some money from Monument crew. We got message that Monument crew wanted to have like a charity fundraiser event, and we got money from you guys. Thank you very much. I just want to explain what happened next. So I gathered a lot of contacts from families who were like struggling at that time, from eastern regions of Ukraine and stuff, and I got money from your party. It was quite big, 2,500 euros, something like that. Yeah. So it was quite big chance. Thank you. And it was donated not into like Red Cross and others like bureaucratic companies. It was donated to us directly. And what I did, I directly sent money to like families, to people in dire straits. So it was, I collected contacts, and I had some calls with these people, and they were like, okay, my name is Vera, I heard you have some troubles, you need this or that, and I have money for you. And they were like, what? It's so easy. Yeah, please send me your like card number, and I'll send you, or I'll buy something and send to your address something. So thank you very much. You are like super far from us, but we are like part of community, like deep techno community. I don't know how to describe it. It's more than deep techno actually, and it was super moment I would remember until my death. I don't know. Really, it's super like. Touching moment. Thank you.
Thank you. You actually mentioned. So I was very curious. You were talking about to me before about the existing clubs. You mentioned there's 𝗲𝗲, and I keep forgetting the name of the other one. the
We have a
famous one.
lot of clubs.
I know you have.
Yeah.
The famous one, the other famous one, with a weird name. Anyway.
𝗣𝗲𝗲𝗹.
That's
Yeah,
the one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the guy with a T-shirt with 𝗤𝗲. It's rave in Kiev. So
Maybe it was Kem I meant actually.
yeah. Oh, here
yes,
you.
That's the one. Actually, that's the one. Yes.
Hi. Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. You mentioned, for example, that like you talked a bit before to me about the atmosphere in these places now. And I'm kind of curious about that. You mentioned that sometimes there are people who are coming back for the weekend, let's say.
Yeah, we have soldiers who are defending our country, and it's young guys, not mostly, it's like different ages, but anyway, we have a lot of youngsters who are defending country right now, and some of them, they are even like really deeply involved in electronic music scene. So in 𝗲𝗲 city there is a model club, and all owners are defending our country now. And like for them it's important to have fun when they have like days off. Yeah, I can say, I don't know, maybe it's like not the proper way to say, but I don't know proper translation. Yeah, so yeah, for them it's important to have some fun, to drink alcohol, to have some drugs, let's be honest, yeah, to dance a bit, to listen to music. So yeah, it's about freedom, it's about joy, it's about celebration of life, as I said before. So yeah, parties, it's not just like entertainment, it's a mental reboot, I would say. Even in such circumstances, it could help. It's a point for your social life, your connection with others. You can like have some fun and discuss something without your thoughts about like your problem in countries and yeah, issues in personal life and stuff.
Yeah, beautiful. It's it shows it's a very important part of our society for across the board.
That's why when COVID started, you know, we were discussing this topic so many times, that clubs, it's not just like something we can just shut and that's all. Yeah, no, it's important for us. It's kind of like social spots. Yeah, and then dancing, it was always like, you know, always it was kind of something when we can release our energy, release our like I don't know, release something.
Feelings.
Yeah.
So you're here as an artist traveling from Ukraine, and I mean there's a lot of amazing Ukrainian artists that have that as their artistry as their career, who are also traveling.
Yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated because you know, you have to have like got permission to especially when it comes to guys, but yeah, super complicated topic. But anyway, our artists, it's kind of privileged part of society. So because we can share our culture and promote Ukraine, and yeah, like established artists have this opportunity to travel and to perform. And it's a funny thing that in local scene there like we have kind of lack of DJs right now. And like new generation, they're like, okay, we're here, we can play something finally and show ourselves. And it's amazing because right now we have absolutely diverse music in Kyiv, and maybe in different regions as well, because you know, new generation, they are like want to share their view and their sound, and yeah, it's amazing actually.
What kind of music is being kind of played and created now then?
Used to play.
No, as in now that the local artists
like a lot of high speed rhythms, drum and bass. Actually, I used to be drum and bass and jungle DJ, and we used to have, yeah, thank you. We used to have biggest drum and bass events and in Ukraine, and actually I'm super happy because I hear that it's like urban culture already here, and you know, you can hear like techno, like deep techno, like Barbie techno, I don't know, like this vocals and stuff, and like drum and bass, hardcore, house music, jungle, so many different rhythms and mutations as well. So it's super amazing. I'm just like enjoying every time when I'm in Kyiv. Actually, I visited Kyiv, I spent like 3 weeks and 3 weekends in a row. I had gigs in Kyiv. It was like super amazing. Like every week was super crowded, diverse music, diverse crowd. Yeah.
So essentially, what you're saying is that you know, in amongst all of this trouble that's happening, you know, with the war, that there's new culture, new kind of diverse sounds popping up out of that.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, it always was like that, because even 9 years ago, when during revolution, it was our time actually. Rhythm Bureau, Schema, Closer Club. We started like it was our golden era, and then we gain some power, yeah, and after that we have a lot of like smaller events, but who was inspired by our project. So yeah, when you have some crisis, it's not always the end of everything, believe me.
Be the beginning of something new as well.
Yes, yes. Something like should be born new, of course.
Beautiful. So the clock is still ticking, and we have one more panel discussion that we're going to have, and I think you're a part of that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, 𝗲𝗲. Wonderful to have you here. We're going to stay here, 𝗲𝗲. 𝗲𝗲, we need you here, actually. Yeah. Okay, so we have... okay, I'm not going to try and pronounce this name. Can you help me here? 𝗲𝗲. Thank you so much. Could you please come to the stage? Hey, mate. Hey, please take a seat.
I'm taking a picture.
Yeah, yeah, you can take the picture. And Martin Kling, that's from, yeah. And this name is really hard to pronounce. Henning. Okay. Så hyggelig, som de sier på norsk.
Yes. It's good to be with family. Right? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Again, maybe you guys could introduce yourselves. I mean, apart from this guy, because everyone knows who. Oh, you can do it if you want to.
I'm good.
But you two, if you could introduce yourselves, please, that would be great.
Why should I
Are we missing a mic? Are we missing a microphone? You're sitting on it.
Sitting on.
Yeah,
you're sitting on.
I'm sitting on it. Okay. You can pass that
Okay, so let's do it like that.
I have to get embarrassed at some point. So.
There's the first problem. I don't really talk about myself, but my name is 𝗛𝗲HIV, which is a really tongue twister, so call me 𝗲tech. I'm a DJ and promoter from 𝗣𝗲𝗲, Poland. And yeah. Thank you. There's nothing impressive in that, but thank you for your warm welcome.
Okay, I'm Martin Kling. I'm from Stockholm, born in Stockholm, Sweden. I've been, thank you. I've been within this cultural, what do you say, business for 2 decades. And I've been doing a lot of different things, but I mean, mostly my heart has been around dance music, of course. I mean, I love everything about it, and I kind of, with my restless soul, try to learn everything. So basically, my idea was to learn everything so I can do everything by myself, kind of. So yeah, I do light design, video art, I play music, I promote, I create events, I create concepts. I put out a sound system called 𝗤𝗲_audio. Yeah, basically I did a lot of things, created some clubs. I don't know if you heard about it, it's 𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲. It was basically that how we made that word, like, there it is. Yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about, you know, atmospheres and how to keep people safe, and for me to make a venue safe, it's about giving the people that comes there the confidence to be helping out with that. And with that said, it's like about the freedom also at the space. It's like you don't want somebody to stand look at you, you know, somebody that's looking out at the space. And so that's, for me, when I created this club, 𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲, it was with the liquor license. It's even worse than here, I think. Also the drug laws, you can't even have, you know, drugs in your blood, kind of, and then you're illegal. But that was the biggest work I did, was to keep the security away. Like, I'm gonna go have a coffee. I mean, we 500 people in here. If it's happening something, we're gonna solve it. Or if it becomes very bad, we call you. And I mean, we didn't have any arguments or fights for 2 years, I think.
Impressive. You've been a busy guy.
So yeah, yeah, I can talk for hours. No.
Henning?
But I met Henning, actually, I need to say that. You reached out. For me, I got a mail from this Henning guy, and we took a meeting, and that's what I really like. We took a video call, and basically, I mean, for me, I felt like, okay, this guy is serious, you know.
Serious guy.
And I mean, and how do you know that? I mean, we ended up doing an event in Stockholm based on trust, economically, and we just went in and did what we're good at. And it became quite amazing.
Heard it went very well.
Also, on a place where it's liquor license, and that's a question. What is a rave? I mean, like 11:30 was full, 500 people almost we had that night, I think.
That's good.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a warehouse to become a party. And that's also something. Yeah, bye.
It's great to hear you anyway. Henning, do you want to introduce yourself? Do you feel the need?
I think everyone here knows me, but I'm the founder of Monument. I've been working with electronic music for, I guess, 15 years. Been working with Monument for 11 years. We had our 10-year anniversary last year. Yeah. And since this is a talk about cooperation across borders, I wanted to invite these amazing people as we cooperate in different kind of ways, maybe to inspire other people here that it's possible. I know I was at another community meeting and I said, if you invite a friend for a good dinner, they will probably invite you back. That's kind of the same way it works with doing raves, inviting DJs, inviting organizers. They come to you, you show them a good time, you make them dinner at your home, you take them out, you do something together, and they will probably do the same to you. And it actually
Where is my
works.
dinner, Henning?
What?
Where is my dinner?
Yeah, it will come.
It's coming
later.
soon.
Later.
Okay, I've been here only for 3 hours or so,
Yeah,
we still have time.
actually, you
Dinner will
remember
come.
we wanted to collaborate a few years ago before COVID
Yes.
started.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like a bit difficult because you booked a lot of DJs and we have a lot of DJs as well pre-booked, and you know, it's kind of complicated to book a new wave of DJs because you have requests before. Okay.
So why is collaboration across borders a good thing apart from dinners and raves? Is there any other reason?
Yes.
Take away the borders, kind
Take
of.
away the borders, yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name again? The Kontiki guy. Borders I've seen none, but I believe they exist in the minds of men. What was his name again?
Yeah.
It's experience and exchange.
Yeah. You exchange experiences, skills, knowledge. The best way for me to learn how to create festival and events is to go out of Norway and look at other festivals and events. It's like that's the way I truly learn. And in a way, it's very easy when you live in a city to get, kind of tunnel vision, and to like keep your vision only on the city and your group of people here in Oslo, in your little gang, which is amazing and it's cool, but it can also be sometimes a little bit narrow-minded. And to get truly inspired, you can go out of your country or to other cities in your country, learn from each other, share, and help each other, basically. We have been to festivals in Barcelona, in Portugal, in Germany, and actually asked them, like, do you maybe want our feedback? What we think about your festival, good and bad? And they're like, fuck yeah, that's really amazing. Please give us all the stuff you have, written down. And they come to our festival and do the same. And in that kind of way, we can start helping each other. And you don't have to do it with a festival. You can do it with events. You can do it with DJs, with organizers, everyone within the scene.
I've been here only for a few hours, and I'm already inspired enough to go back to Poland and say to all of my friends, to all my crew, you can't stop me, guys. I will do everything what it takes to do stuff better, to do stuff together with other people, to get this inspiration out there and create something together, which is because the scene. What is the scene? Scene is music plus people, and we all gathered here because of the music, and there's nothing more that is needed actually, because the energy that it creates gets me going. And I've been doing the festival, my festival called Up-to-Date Festival. I just kind of skipped off the introduction. It's been going for 14 years already. I also run a club. I ran a label. I've been DJing for almost 24 years. and it all kept me going because of the people and the music. And coming here was worth only maybe not only, but mainly because of you. Because Henning, the crew, the fantastic crew, all of you that gathered here with large numbers, and it's also inspiring, and it all tells me that it's worth going on. Thank you.
Actually, same idea. We already found that it's important to be connected, even in terms of like local scene. So we used to be have competition between like all promoters in Kyiv, for example. But then we decided that it's a really bad idea to be like like something separate, you know, and we decided to cooperate. And for example, we have a big event. We are not like happy to continue our event for after parties, so after 9 a.m. Sorry, for you maybe like it's super long event, but anyway, for us it's absolutely okay to continue, and we are not like happy with this scenario because you know we have like big warehouse events, and we decided to cooperate with Closer Club, and okay, with we are selling like tickets and sharing some like money, and with our ribbons, like people can go to Closer and have some discount, for example. So there are so different ways to cooperate, and it's always win-win story, believe me. And after that, I decided, okay, it's really better than if you just like try to show that you are the best in the city. So yeah, it's not like important in terms of countries. It's important in the local scene as well.
Exactly. Coming to other events, to other countries, seeing what other promoters are doing, has given me inspiration to implement other attitudes. Because you were talking about tunnel vision. This is exactly what I had at the time when I was running a club, for example, in my town. It's a small town. There was no economic point of running a club there, but there was a point. I'm sure you mean what you know what I mean. There was a point, but there was no.
Raves usually don't have a really good economic point.
Yeah, exactly. But I had tunnel vision in a way because I was focusing only on the local crowd, and it made me searching for compromise too much, and that's always it's always a problem in long term. You need to stay fresh. You need to keep up with what's going on the scene and with different perspectives that are all over Europe, all over the world. Because if you keep focusing only on the local community, they will eat you up, and you won't be able to offer them anything fresh at some point.
I agree, totally. Yeah.
Can I fill in something here? I'm back.
Please.
Yeah. No, but I think it's very interesting because I think also the dance scene is different in different stages in different cities and countries. For example, since Corona, when the restrictions went away, I only focused local, except 𝗞𝗿𝗲𝗲 that we booked together for the location event. I have only booked people living in Stockholm or anyway can take the bus there, or because especially for Stockholm, it's been so long that the artists, the local artists, doesn't get the attention that they actually deserves. Like poster, a big name, and you can't see the name in the corner, kind of. And you know, most of the times it's the local DJs that tears down the roof, kind of. So for me, at the moment, I don't see a reason to fly in an artist. You know, it costs a lot of money. It's hard as it is to make the economy to work, to do a party. I think I lost 100,000 for the last 5 or 6 events. But I mean, that's why I think everyone here is kind of...
We can rely.
That's the life.
Sometimes you get a good, a better luck, and hopefully it makes up for that.
I guess, Martin, it's a good balance between having and supporting and strengthening the local scene, and then sometimes giving them the inspiration from outside. Like
yeah, of course.
Someone,
but
right?
that's the thing. If you build up what you have and create a good foundation, then you can start adding stuff, and people will appreciate it. That's how I see it, kind of.
Yeah. And also one interesting thing to add here about cross-border cooperation is that we actually got money from the EU. I'm looking at you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Before we got money from the culture department here in Norway. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess instead of me talking about that, please tell me how we did that. And you know, we have some logos here.
Yeah, those logos are because of a grant program of cooperation between countries.
Yeah.
That's a keyword, cooperation. There wouldn't be this fund that supports this event and event in Poland called Up to Date.
So we will go to Poland and do this same thing. That's the thing, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've noticed that there's this project monument. It's kind of cool, you know. It's runs nice parties, nice platform and label. Yeah, they're very professional, and there's a good vibe around it. Of course, I'm joking. I've been observing Monument from the very start, I think, and they have always been source of inspiration. And when we were talking to Rhythm Bureau, they also mentioned your name. We should team up, and then somehow one email, second email, video call, and we ended up doing two international projects together. And even though I've been doing this stuff, I mean, trying to get grants for many years, I was surprised how easy it was to build bridges because of the music and the community. Because I came here and I see lots of friends, and I see lots of people that will become my friends, and I'm happy. And yeah, let's fight for more.
Yes.
I have to mention one thing, actually. Same thing is actually happening in Stockholm in May. It's called the Night Academy. It's a collaboration with most of them are from Berlin, I think. 𝗲𝗲𝗶, and I'm not the one. I'm not the reason why, but they have called me in to create the ending of the this week. It's like master classes, you know, the full politician talking panels.
You need to get the culture minister.
Yeah. No, but I was asked to come up with the concept to end this week, and about this license, and so I came up with a name. It's 𝗲𝗲24, and we're gonna do an event that's gonna be going on for 24 hours. We're just gonna do it legal. So if that means that we can't serve strong alcohol, we won't. But it will be a party that goes on for 24 hours. I think that's an interesting idea to, if you can't do that, you can do that maybe. Yeah, so it's happening, collaborations is happening everywhere, and that's how ideas like that comes up. So that's why it's so important, I think.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So the clock, as usual, is ticking, and I think we are coming to the end. We are coming to the end. So I'm not sure if anyone wants to make any closing comments. Maybe
I can talk a little bit.
Well. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. It's been a blast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think rave culture is pretty important. Don't you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah? Yeah?
Not at all.
Let's keep building it, huh?
And Paul, I heard rumors that it's a guy called Jeff who's playing tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff somebody or other.
Some guy called Jeff. So I recommend going there. But I hope to see you all at the festival the coming 2 days. We have an amazing, crazy warehouse location in 𝗲𝗏. It's quite unique for Oslo. I know some people have been there, yes, it's unique. And we have been there all week, working basically 24/7 to put it up. All of these amazing artists will be playing. So if you haven't yet got yourself a ticket, or your lazy friend who's sitting at home now, tell them to get a ticket, support these people and us in Monument, and come to the festival the coming days. As I said in the beginning, we will all hug you, and we recommend all of you to hug us.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.